Okay. John, are you there, buddy? Let me let me see if I can get your volume up a little bit, um, and I'll reopen the show. As I said, we have a fantastic show coming to you today. It is our Saturday afternoon edition of the Saturday Morning Live with Sal Santori, and today we have our wonderful friend and super great guy, well educated and very well experienced in our topic, which is trauma. And of course, you'll recognize his name as I mentioned John Steely of California. John, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm great. I'm glad to be here. Looking forward to it.
Thanks for coming on. I'm thinking that your volume might be a little low. I don't know. Maybe it's my headphones. I usually work without headphones, but today for some reason I'm wearing them.
I'll try to talk a little louder.
Okay. All right. I'm hearing you. Well, John, thanks so much for coming on the show. And I have to apologize right from the start. I did not get to really do an in-depth study of the chapters for the book Get Unstuck now as I'd wanted to, and I know we talked about it, so I want to bring my fault out right from the beginning. But there you see it, folks. Get unstuck now, not later, but now. So I am definitely going to defer to John to talk about how we go about getting unstuck now. How do we even know we're stuck? I guess would be a good spot to start. John, go ahead.
That's actually a good question. I usually ask people, how long have you wanted to make a change, and how long has it been that you haven't made that change? So if you're, for instance, if you're wanting to make a change and 6 months later you still want to make the same change, you're stuck. So that's one of the various ways to tell. Sometimes you can clearly tell, you like, I don't know what to do and I can't move. When people get trauma, it shows up in all different ways. There's not like one way that it shows up. Different people respond differently, and so I had people that just slept a lot, and that was a sign that they were stuck because they were avoiding things by just sleeping, thinking that's a good thing to do. Well, based on other things they could be doing, that's not such a bad thing, but it's also a sign that maybe there's something that you need to deal with that you haven't been. Um, Sometimes you're quite upset by things easily, and if you are like, people have to walk on eggshells around you, that's a good sign that you're stuck, because chances are that means that you have a whole lot of anger that's not expressed. So unfortunately, then it comes out in ways that usually is not healthy. So there's lots of different ways you can be stuck. But basically, if you want to have something change in your life and you really haven't made any progress on it, certainly in a few months, that's a sign. So the idea is you want to make sure that you can take something as a sign and go, okay, I want something different this time, and I want to make a difference in my life, and therefore, in the people around me will also feel the same benefit. So stuckness is one thing that comes in a lot of different forms, and usually you're aware of it, but sometimes you're not.
I think one of the big problems is the not being aware, being so deeply stuck that you're not aware you're stuck. I mean, is that fairly common, or is that something to address?
Yeah, it's very common. There's a thing called denial, and as
Okay.
as I tell people, it's not a river in Egypt. The
Mhm.
idea is, you think, oh, everything's fine, but if you're putting away a quart of alcohol a day, if your exercise is sitting in front of the TV for 12 hours, you're actually showing stuckness. Just, it looks like I'm just sitting here like and minding my own business. No, there's something that's going on. And having had PTSD twice, I understand what you go through. And I actually wrote another book about it. And in fact, I'll show you that one real quick. But the idea is second chances. And because in that, you've got your veteran suicide T-shirt on. In that, I actually have something I want to just mention real quick. I have an article. It's called Hope, and it's 5 things to do if you are feeling suicidal. It's 5 things to do if your friend is feeling suicidal, and then it's what to do if you're left behind. And unfortunately, I've been in all three of those positions. So, and actually, fortunately now, because I can actually explain it to people, and here's what you can do. So, people need to understand that when you're stuck, different things happen. You're generally not thinking straight, even though it might appear to you that you are. But if other people are telling you that you're not, chances are, they can see something you can't.
Right.
So if you get enough people telling you, hey, I think, there's something wrong here, or, there's something that, I think is going on, and even you don't know what it is, that's when the best time is to reach out for some professional help from people who are trained in trauma, because not every therapist is trained in trauma. Not every coach knows what they're doing when it comes to trauma. And you want someone who does know the way. And I use the one little story that guy's walking down the street, falls down a steep hole. It's so steep he can't get out. So pretty soon a doctor walks by. He says, "Doc, I'm down here. Can you help me out?" The doctor writes a prescription and sends it down. Keeps moving on. Pretty soon a priest walks by. He says, "Father, I'm down here. Can you help me out?" The priest writes a prayer, sends it on down, keeps moving. So pretty soon his friend's walking by, goes, "Hey, Joe, I'm down here. Can you help me out?" And the guy jumps in the hole. And he says, "What are you, stupid?" He says, "Now we both are stuck." He says, "No, I've been down here before. I know the way out."
Right.
And that's the thing. You want someone who knows the way out. I'm one of those people. I've been down stuck in so many ways. Believe me, I could write books about it. Turns out I've already written 8. So,
Right.
so I guess, it does help to have a guide to work through this stuff. And that's the idea, is to make it, I try to make it as simple, not easy necessarily, but simple to take those first steps. In fact, we're going to be talking about a couple of them today. One of the chapters is called Keeping Your Word, and the other one is called How to Change Your Mind. And I think those two are a little topics that we can talk about. I want to give some practical information for people today, where we can help them to understand what is going on and why it's so important to understand the concepts.
Let's go right on into that, John. Let's talk about that.
Okay. Well, keeping your word, a lot of people don't realize that there's one person that knows every single time that you've broken your word. And of course, that's you.
Right.
And so your subconscious mind is keeping track of every single time that you break your word. And you say, "I'm going to do this today," and then you don't do this. "I'm going to get up at 7 and exercise for a half hour," and then you get up at 8 and you don't exercise at all. "I'm going to be there on time," and then you're 20 minutes late. "I'm going to not drink today," and then you have a couple of drinks. "I'm going to, whatever it is, meet somebody. I'm working. I'm, eating healthy today," and whatever it is. Every single time that you break your word by saying, "I'm going to do this," and then you don't do this, your subconscious mind keeps track of that. And the reason why that's so important is you need your subconscious mind to help you to make changes in your life. And I'll give you one of the big stats that people need to understand. 80% of your subconscious mind, which runs us most of the time, is done by the time you're 8 years old. And another 50% by the time you're 18. So you got 5% left from the 18 on for the rest of your life that can, hopefully do something and help you with the other 95. And it can if you know what you're doing. But the point is, most of the time you got an 8-year-old running you.
Right. Okay.
I'll give you some examples. You don't have to teach yourself how to walk every day. You just get up and walk. You're not thinking about it. It's your subconscious mind that knows how to do it. If you actually pause, try to think, "Oh, I have to take that step," and you can actually fall because you're busy trying. Your subconscious mind knows what it's doing. I mean, I have people who have driven places and go, "How did I get here?" And they realize it was their subconscious mind was driving. They were busy thinking about something else. So your subconscious mind does all sorts of things for you, which is fine, except that whatever you experience between 0 and 8 can be quite traumatic and often can reflect, therefore, on the rest of your life. So part of it is the keeping your word goes back to that, is as your subconscious mind is running you, you need to have that subconscious mind agree with you. And if it knows how many times you've broken your word, and let's say it's quite frequent, it's not going to help you to make changes. It's going to go, "Nah, they don't really mean it. They're not going to, so I'm not going to help."
Right.
Rather than, if I'm going to teach a way that you can get your subconscious mind to work with you, that will help you by keeping your word. So I hope you don't mind. I keep talking. If you want to interrupt me, you let me know.
No, actually, this is extremely enlightening. Um, I have a question though, as far as like, does your mind reach a point, your subconscious reach a point where it's convinced that change is pointless? It's not going to happen. Is that what we're?
If you keep breaking your word, that's kind of what it gets to. Yeah,
Okay.
it's not helping you, but
Okay.
you can turn that around, and that's I'm going to teach you how to do that.
Okay.
Because the idea is it's never too late to change, and
Right.
so you can convince your subconscious mind uh, that you really mean to make changes, and then it'll go, oh, okay. So I'll give you a way that I created. It's kind of simple, but believe it or not, there's 4 parts to it, and the hardest part is what you would not think it is. So I created something called an ADGR, which is absolute daily goal with reward. So I abbreviated ADGR. You know, in the military, they got abbreviations for everything. So why not?
For acronyms, uh, can I just throw in here "fake it till you make it" as a way to help retrain your subconscious?
In part, yes,
Okay.
because the problem is faking it until you make it goes only so far. Because part of you knows, like, I'm faking it. You know, you can convince other people sometimes more than you can convince yourself because they don't know that you're faking it in some cases. So my little trick here is going to help you so that you can use the fake it and make it, and it will work because your subconscious goes, yeah, let's do that.
Right.
But it has to have some proof first that you're really trying. So the ADGRs, here's what it means. An absolute daily goal is something that you can do in 1 minute or less. So it's very, very simplified. You can take a bigger goal. Let's say exercise, and let's say you want to exercise 30 minutes a day, 4 times a week. Okay. So as an absolute daily goal, you can pick, I will do 1 sit-up. That's your absolute daily goal. And the reason I tell people that is, believe it or not, just to break the ice to do the 1 sit-up, chances are you're going to do a set. And then you'll do, okay, I'll do 1 more. And then so you do 2 sets. And pretty soon you're exercising. But even if you only do the 1 sit-up, that's enough. Let's start with that. So you tell your goal, it's going to be, I will do 1 sit-up today. And so if at 11:59 at night, you forgot all day long, you're getting ready for bed, all of a sudden, oh yeah, I didn't do my ADGR. All right, then here's what you're going to do. You're going to get down the floor. You're going to do your 1 sit-up. Voila, you got it. So you've accomplished your goal. So here's the tougher part. I want you to reward yourself for doing that. And people go, why should I reward myself? I did 1 sit-up. I'll tell you what.
That even falls right in line with, like, I'm not worthy of a reward. Am I right?
Well, yeah, it matches that absolutely. But here's the point. You're not rewarding the adult in you. You're rewarding the 8-year-old. Remember, an 8-year-old wants a reward. They do something for you, they want a reward.
Okay.
So you're rewarding that 8-year-old. So I tell people, and usually I tell people, make a list of like 10 or 12 different rewards that you can do. So especially if you're say you're looking to get in shape, you can't eat a gallon of ice cream. That's not a reward. Okay. You could maybe listen to your favorite CD. You can maybe call your friend for 10 minutes. You can maybe take a walk, go outside for 10 minutes. So you make a list of these. So literally, if you can't think of one, just look at your list and point to one of them, go, I'll do that one. But really, that's the hardest part, people, for the exact reason you just said, because they're the one, I only did 1 sit-up. Why should I reward? I'm telling you, your 8-year-old wants a reward. Your subconscious mind is the one who wants a reward. So you give it that reward. Okay. So you do your 1 sit-up, and pretty soon you're doing that a lot. You're doing an absolute daily goal every day. I usually go 6 days a week. You can have 1 day off, so you don't have to do it every day. But you want your mind to get, okay, I'll do this. 1 sit-up, 1 push-up. I'll eat 1 thing healthy, whatever it might be, and then reward yourself. And as you build this up, you build a track record. Pretty soon, in a year, you've got 365, roughly, let's say 350, 350 examples of how you kept your word. So then, when your subconscious mind, and you're saying, here's the fun part: your subconscious mind does not know size of rewards, of size of goals. So when you set a goal, it doesn't know the difference between 1 sit-up and 4 miles of running. It just knows, did you do it or didn't you do it?
Right.
So
Okay.
that's why this little thing works, because it just thinks, oh, he said he'd do it, he did. He kept his word, So you got 350 check marks to say he kept his word. So I'm going to help him with whatever goal. Let's say you set a really big goal. I want to earn $100,000 this year. Okay, it's going to go, sure, why not? We helped you with that. You're going to do it. Okay. So that's the benefit, is this little thing, believe it or not, can be very powerful and help you to achieve whatever it is. I'm going to teach you also how to set bigger goals in a minute. But that's really one of the keys that helps your subconscious mind align with your conscious mind, so that when you say consciously, I want to do this, it goes, yeah, I'm with you because I saw it. You kept your word. I'm going to help you keep your word on this, whatever this is.
Right, right. This is excellent. This is very interesting.
And it's really powerful. And it doesn't seem like it, but it really is. Because if your subconscious mind doesn't believe you, it's not going to try. And it takes a lot to make some changes. Well, subconsciously, you want that part of you, which again, has been running you most of the time, to run with you to make those changes.
Yeah, I'm comparing this with a lot of the training that I've had in the past, as far as like ways to accomplish. If you can dream it, you can achieve it, and how you go about that. And this is perfect. This is perfect because we're reaching out to a lot of folks who are stuck. Who are stuck, and this is like, to hear you say that, your subconscious mind doesn't know the size of the goal. It only knows that it is in fact a goal, and whether you keep your word or not is perfect, beyond value.
Yeah.
Thank you,
It makes a
John.
huge difference. Once people realize that, all of a sudden they're like, oh, it really isn't. Because a lot of people break their word thinking it's not important. No one else knows. Yeah. The one person that really needs you to know knows. And so you want that person to agree with you. Believe me, when you want to create something in your life and that person doesn't believe you, that inner child part, the subconscious mind.
You're kidding me. You're not going to do that.
You're not going to get it. Yeah, exactly. It's going like, yeah, they don't really mean it. They never do.
Right?
Yeah.
Talking to the parent, basically.
Yeah.
Talking to your parent. Yeah.
Yeah. So you want that part of you to work with you. And the good news is really that 5%, which is that part of the 5% that we're talking about doing, that can retrain the other 95. So that can actually make it all go. And when you get your subconscious mind work with you, you can have crazy and miracle kind of things happen. It's just how it works. So another one that we talked about later is how to change your mind. Remember, we talked about that. That's part of it. But a bigger part comes to when you want these bigger goals. So what I created is a thing called a SMART goal. Now, other people have SMART goals. Mine have different words to them, so they don't mean all the same. Not every SMART goal is really the same as I kind of translated it into a different way. Because a lot of people, I've done this. I've taught this in high schools, and I've taught it in all different places, prisons. I've done lots of different work with people, and a lot of people have never been taught how to set a goal. So I'm going to teach you how to set a goal today, not just those mini goals, the absolute daily goals, but a big goal. So, and again, sometimes one can go with the other. So you can have a big goal and then use your absolute daily goals to slowly achieve it. It's like, again, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Oh, I've used that so many times. I always use that.
Yeah. So it's like you set your big goal, but you break it down into a very small piece, and you just take that one piece and then another piece, and pretty soon it adds up. I had people who are helping them write books, and I go, just write 1 page a day. In a year you got 365 pages. You're doing pretty good. It's a book. So if you can break things down to a small bite-sized piece, that's why they use the 1 day at a time in 12 steps. That's how it is. It's like they break it down. I'm not talking about the 20 years. I'm talking just today. Just today, do it. So, okay, we'll talk about SMART goals if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the way I break it down, and it's in the book too, the Step book. Anyway, it's specific. So it begins with specific. A goal has to be specific in order for you to achieve it. So I get people go, I want to make more money. Well, that's great, but how much is more money?
Yeah.
A penny is more money than you had a minute ago, So you got to be more specific. I want to make $100,000, this year. Okay, there you go. That's more. Okay, so you got to be specific in what you want. And I'll talk about some ways that you can't interfere with other people's. But anyway, so it has to be measurable. So I had one person that said, I want to be happier. And people are like, well, how can you measure that? And I asked, how would you show that you're happier? And they said, if I smiled 10 times a day. I go, okay, that's measurable. Okay. Or if I told a joke today, that means I'm happier. If I got along better with my wife today, I'm happier. Whatever it is, if you can measure it, that's the goal that you're going to have in there. That's part of it is how is it measured? Okay. So it's specific. I want to be happier. It measured by I will get 10 smiles a day. I'll have a good conversation with my wife. I will tell a joke today, whatever it might be. So if it's specific and measurable, you got the first two going. Now, this is where I deviate from a lot of people and their SMART goals. I have it as appropriate. And by appropriate, I mean, does it meet your wants and needs? And does it interfere with anybody else's? So I'll give you an example. If your goal is to create a new relationship, let's say with someone, that's fine. A new relationship, if it meets your wants and needs, I want to have a loving romantic relationship with the woman of my dreams. That's a goal. Okay, sure. But if you say I want to create a loving relationship with Mary, well, Mary's goals might not be the same. So you can't put that in there. You can say, I'd like to create a romantic relationship with a woman like Mary. That's fine. And it could be Mary. If her goals are in alignment with that, great. But otherwise, you can create something with someone else that's like Mary, that's got the attributes you're looking for. But it can't be Mary because, again, her life's her own. And so your goal has to be appropriate. It meets your want and needs, but it doesn't interfere with hers.
Right.
So then our part is realistic. And I've had a lot of people where they're setting money goals, which is great. And they go, okay, I want to make $1 million. I go, okay, how much have you made in 1 year ever? And they go, 25,000. I go, okay, is it really realistic that you're going to make $1 million this year? Probably not. Now, maybe in 10 years. Okay. So again, there's another part that's coming up that has to do with that. So it has to be realistic. And the reason I tell people, here's all you need to do. It has to be 50% realistic to you. So let's say you believe you can make $500,000 this year. You're like, yeah, I've made, 350,000 last year. I could probably make, 500 this year. Okay. So if it's at least 50% believable to you, yeah, okay. So let's say you only made 250. That's still 50% of $500,000. So I've said $1 million. Okay. So if your goal is 50% believable, so $1 million, if you believe you can make the 500,000, it's 50% believable. Okay. And it only has to be believable to you. It doesn't have to be believable to anybody else. Doesn't matter. Again, it's your mind, your subconscious that's working on this. If you can believe I can make $500,000 this year, believe it or not, you can set a goal for $1 million. And because you believe you can make $500,000. And oftentimes people make more than the goal, but it has to be reasonable. Okay. So if you've never made like more than $50,000 and you're not going to make $1 million this year, okay, it's not realistic. So you set an incremental goal, like over a time period, or I will make 100,000 this year because I've made 50. I know I can make 50. I want to set a goal for 100,000 for this year. You might get on the way to making that $1 million, but right now let's make it realistic. And the reason is, again, here's why. It's like all the lottery winners lose all their money within 5 years. Like 95% of them lose everything within 5 years. It's because it stretched their believability way past the breaking point. And it snapped back because it was way so far out of their comfort zone, they couldn't take it. And they did whatever they needed to do to get back in that little zone. Yeah. That was the only, that's the realistic part. That's the comfort zone. So you can stretch your comfort zone, again, 50%. But you can't go beyond that without hitting that rubber band effect that snaps it back. So I don't want you to do that. I want you to set incremental goals that are 50% believable, and you keep raising them up and up and up. And you might hit that $1 million within 5 years or 10 years, but you got to get to it by stretching your comfort zone little at a time. And by little, I mean 50%, which is still a substantial amount.
I think one of these shows, John, we're going to tie in like self-sabotage with exactly what you're talking about, like stretching your comfort zone and having it snap back.
Yeah.
because I think what I hear a lot of people saying is like, you know, I've had success. It was short lived, and I've done it multiple times, and then I'm listening more, and it sounds like they scare themselves out of accepting the success. You know,
Yeah.
and I think what I'm hearing is, it's that comfort zone snapping back, and then there's probably a lot of schools of thought on that, like, it could be the evil one talking to you in your mind, telling you you don't deserve this. This isn't you. You
Yeah.
know,
Again, remember that subconscious mind. There's
yeah,
a deservability built into that. That's why that little goal that proves that you deserve it because you've been keeping your word, then it believes you deserve it. So yeah, but there's other healing stuff. There's a lot. We can't get into everything today. But yeah, believe me, deservability is a big part of it. And
yeah,
stretching your comfort zone, again, that's a big part of it. And a lot of people don't realize everything that you don't have that you want is out of your comfort zone. Because if it wasn't, you'd have it.
you have it right.
That's how you know. Now we didn't hit the last part of the SMART goal, which is
We're
the
going
T.
to. We have like 3 minutes left.
This is
And
only the T. I'll make it real quick.
okay, great. Go for it, John.
All right. T is a sense of time. So you have to have a deadline to create your goal. Otherwise, if you just go, I want to make $1 million. Well, between now and when you die, you probably will make $1 million. But if you really want to make it the way you think you do, I want to make it within 5 years. Okay. Well, that's a sense of time. It's measurable, remember? And it's got a sense of time. So you got a deadline on how that's going to go together. Because again, your subconscious mind wants to work with you. And if you don't have a time limit, it doesn't know what to do. It can't make it work.
You
So
can't.
you got to have all those keys, and then you can make your mind change and make the goals happen.
Now, there's. I don't mean to jump ahead, but there's another practice that I learned eons ago, and I'm stuck to it. It's brilliant, and it's real simple. Keep your blinders on. Keep your blinders on. Don't get pulled in multiple directions when you're focusing on your goal. Don't let the naysayers talk you out of it. Don't let other distractions pull you away from it. Keep your blinders on and stay focused on your goal and believe that you can and will accomplish your goal, and you'll be right. Is
Yeah.
that, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I've accomplished a lot of goals that people didn't think I could do. I've helped clients to do the same when they didn't even think they could. I said, "Do you believe in me?" They go, "Yeah." I go, "Well, then you believe that I believe that you can do it. That's all we need." And we did it. And they're like, "I didn't think I could do it." Like, I knew you could.
yeah. I have a saying that I throw out to people all the time, and I just ask them, hey, do you believe in the hereafter? You know, and a lot of times they think I'm crazy, and I said, well, do you? And when I get the yes, it's like, well, okay, great, let's get working because it's your success that I'm here after.
There you go.
Yeah, let's do it. John, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. On behalf of all the folks that are viewing and listening. And I have this very core belief that someone somewhere needed to hear exactly what was said today. Uh,
Now I'm hoping that it reaches a lot of people. That's why I wrote the books. That's why
yeah,
I keep writing books, is because I know that there's a need out there. I didn't know this information when I was growing up, and I want to help people to save that. I've spent thousands and thousands of hours studying this and learning this and working with the top people in the business to find out how to make it work for people. And that's what I want to offer people is a shortcut to get there.
we are going to continue this, John. I'll get with you, but we have as early as next Saturday available, Thursday available. We can talk about an upcoming schedule because I'd really like to stay on this and continue to bring your information to folks who we know it's going to benefit at some point. So
I think one of the things we might concentrate on is how to work through the holiday blues. I've written articles that have been in the major papers about that because it's tough this time of year, oftentimes for people. If you're missing someone that's not there, or if you're on your own, or if you're somewhere where you can't be with your friends and family, there's a lot of that going on. And so we can talk about that this week.
fantastic. Uh, Folks, follow us on Facebook, please, because I'm going to get with John about a very immediate schedule to deal with the holidays. So check our Facebook page. We're on Twitter, we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, and you can always call me here at 717-455-7086 or email me sal at the kzcvo.org. Anytime, questions, whatever you need to know, I'll be glad to get to you. But follow us closely because we're really gonna load up the holidays with shows. So definitely stay with us, John. Thank you again, and I can't wait to visit with you on our next show. And to all our global family of viewers and listeners, the greatest of all time, thank you for tuning in. And please, as always, remember to find